That's not English, Brian. It's German.
Oh,
So what I told you is true, from a certain point of view.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of POV, where we talk about whatever we feel like on Mondays. And this time, it's going to be Ahsoka and our favorite trash reality TV show, Love is Blind, because they dropped... Oh, we never talked about last week, huh?
Yeah, we've got a couple episodes to...
Yeah, so we've got... Technically, we've got like 5 of them, right? Something like that. I just realized that. But yeah, I don't know why my light is just not working with me today. Now I'm like Trixie, where it has just half as one, half as other. But how we doing? How you doing, Jill?
It's a Monday. Yeah.
All right.
Not a whole lot of excitement happening over here, really.
Now I know how Jake feels. with me, just yeah.
Yeah, nothing too exciting on in this neck of the woods. Saw PJ the other day. That was fun. He was in town.
And the corgi.
And the corgi. I got to meet Mabel, which was a lot of fun.
He only brought one?
Yeah. He only because Mabel and Dipper
favoritism?
apparently are just Mabel and Dipper are not getting along right now, apparently. So yeah. So met Mabel. Haven't seen him since Jake's wedding, so it was nice to
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So yeah, that was fun. And then what did I do this weekend? I don't remember. I don't even know what I did this weekend. I don't think I did anything this weekend. I watched more Saw movies. I'm up to Saw 5. I'm up to Saw 5.
So I think you're writing the trivia as you go.
I think I have 5 more to go. Or 6. If I count like Spiral.
Are you going to go see 10 in the theater?
I want to, but no one will go with me.
That's because you're a psychopath.
So
that's a good point.
I might have to request it to be on Tony TV.
You can't do movies by yourself?
No, I can. Like I actually really enjoy doing movies by myself, but like for like a scary horror movie, like I want to be experiencing that with somebody. I don't want to be the only one. Sean is not into the Saw movies. He walked in.
He's a normal person.
I texted these two and he walked in as I was watching, I think Saw 4. And he was like, "Is this Saw?" And then literally a second later, it switched to a scene of a lady with her ribs cut, like shot open. And he's like, "Oh God, yes it is." And like, then he left the room. So I was like, "Yeah, it's the 4th one." Like, so.
No. Yeah. There's just no.
The story, the overall story of them is great. And watching them back now, like, they're really not that bad. Like, gore-wise, they're really not too terrible. Or maybe I'm just insane. I don't know.
Like, I don't know if there's any other set of movies I would not want to see as much as those ones.
They're fun.
Like, genuinely. I don't know.
They're fun.
I don't know.
They're not my cup of tea, you know?
Which is fair.
Speaking of. Like, out of all the horror genres, I'm kind of like, I'll leave that one alone.
Leave it to me. Leave it to me. I'll be the psychopath to watch those.
You could honestly rattle off a list, and I don't think there's any scary horror-y movie I would want to see less than Saw.
I think it's because growing up, I used to look at like crime scene photos for like, because that's like what I was into. Like, was like serial killers as a kid. So maybe that's why I'm like so like desensitized to it, which is not a good thing. But no, like, because there used to be a trap that I used to not be able to watch, and now I'm like, oh, I just picture it. I guess the way I do it too is I picture it as, and this is a prop from like a scary maze that I would maybe used to work at back in the day. So that's kind of what I make my brain think. Just go, it's not real. It's so like I'm like, oh, whatever, it's fine. And then I look and see, oh, what's the makeup gonna look like? Oh, fun.
Yeah, maybe it's from working in
It might be.
like a haunted house.
Yeah, it might be where I'm just like, ooh, that's neat. Like, it's cool how they did that effect. So, or I'm just crazy. I don't know. I enjoy the Saw movies. I think they're a good time.
I think it's the latter.
I'm just crazy.
Yeah. Stepping off a little less crazy, Molly, how are you doing?
I'm good. Had a late start to the day today. Didn't do a whole lot this weekend. Well, we went to a beer fest at our local like nerd bar that we have here in Atlanta.
Beer fest or Oktoberfest? It's the same thing.
They were just calling it a beer fest. It was, I mean, most of the breweries that they had there had their like Oktoberfest beers there, so we got to try
serving them out of Das Boots.
They were not. Because you had to buy tickets to get in, and then they gave you a cup, and then they would just put sample bits in your cup. But because I was till they closed, the last couple of samples I got were like full pours because they were. So that was fun.
God.
And then Saturday night we had a little movie night, and we watched.
Watched a lot.
We watched Cobweb. We watched Evil Dead Rise. Is that the newest one?
Yeah.
And we watched Halloween 3, which was a hoot. That one was exactly how cheesy I thought it would be, and it was great.
So, like the old one?
Yeah, the first Halloween 3 with the masks and like Michael Myers isn't even in it at all.
Oh.
It's so strange. It's a strange third installment, but that's kind of why there's a cult following behind it, because people are like, what is this? Where's
Why
Michael?
is this Halloween? Yeah. Interesting.
It's weird.
Huh.
Season of the Witch, yeah, that's what it's called.
Oh, so there's witches in it this time?
Sorry, I forgot to close my window.
I was wondering what that like
Not
slight No? Oh. There was like a slight like whooshing noise, and I was like,
ow.
Either Molly's tooting or something is like.
It might have been my window.
I'm just letting a slow, loud fart out this whole entire time.
Did you watch back when Alex was talking about you when you walked away about the other day on the stream about you farting?
Oh no, but he said it was something about farts, and I was like, I figured.
Yeah. I don't have a sense of smell, and thank God, because Molly, yeah, his whole spiel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still trying to convince Joe to watch Hill House and Blind Manor.
I'll start tomorrow. I'm home tomorrow.
Because House of Usher starts on Thursday.
Just text me and bother me about it.
Okay.
So you got. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We will. Spot
I might rewatch it with you because I don't have a whole lot to do tomorrow. So
I'm home most of the day tomorrow. Yeah, let me know. Text me.
Tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jeremy, I have mulled the idea of recording myself watching it. So
it's probably going to be. Did you watch the Nick Cage like Five Nights at Freddy's movie?
Watch scary things.
But it's like campy. And I think this is also going to be pretty campy.
I don't think so. It looked pretty like. There's some scenes where I'm like,
Brian, you got scared at the title card of Cabin in the Woods.
That's what. But there's one specific like part in the trailer where it looks like it's like a Saw thing going on, and I'm like,
Oh, if it has to do with the lore, if they really get into the lore, then maybe they'll have something like that. But
when's that come out?
The 27th?
I was gonna guess 29th.
I think the 27th.
I don't know, but it comes out in movies and Peacock at the same time, so that's why I was thinking maybe I'll record myself watching it, and if I do it with headphones, like it'll scare me obviously more than
if you played the game. You should be able to watch the movie. I don't see how it's vastly different.
because they're actual people, and even though it's not real, I don't know. We'll see. But it is a night because there's a large part of me that wants to see it, and then there's like a decent size that's like, do you want to see it? Like, it's
This
like
is part of spooky season. Brian tries. You have to try to watch spooky movies.
There we go. I was trying to think of a way that we could do like the type of spooky scare video stuff, except me watching movies. But I don't know how that would work.
It would be tough to do if it wasn't like a full watch along.
I guarantee you that would scare me probably even more than the video games, because when I get into a movie, I'm like,
it would be very distracting, so you probably wouldn't get the whole essence of the movie.
But I'm sure I would be fine with not having the essence of whatever scary movie I got told to watch. But yeah. So yeah, scary stuff. House of Usher. Jill, you have to watch something before that. Part of me almost thinks that she should start with Midnight Mass. I feel like she will love Midnight Mass.
I think she would like both. House, what is it called? Hill House. That one is like top tier, I think, for me out of all of them. Midnight Mass is like a little bit more of a slow burn. It's more
that's fair
of like a serious thriller until things just hit the fan.
Go batshit.
Hill House has so many cool like little bits in it that you may not catch the first time you watch it. And
I've seen it on TikTok.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for all like the little Easter egg scares that are kind of hidden throughout it.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we spent 12 minutes talking about nonsense. Spooky stuff. That's okay, though. I'm sure you will not. Yeah, you'll be hearing a lot more of it. 'Cause I guarantee you we're probably, between the three of us, two of us are going to binge all of House of Usher by the time we have our next show. But yeah, as you can see by our lovely banner, we're going to start with the trash dumpster fire that is Love is Blind season 5, and the nonsense that is going on in that show in what could quite possibly be the worst season of the 5.
Yeah.
By a long shot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it right now. I don't think any of them are getting married.
No.
I don't either. And if they do, it's a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, this season only has 2 couples going into the final wedding episodes. So 2 couples are the only ones that made it through to the end.
Technically it was 3, but
technically it was 3. Yeah.
Technically it was 5.
There's like a bunch of weird behind the scenes stuff that they edited out of the final season of other couples that got engaged and like went through to like the wedding part, and
3 made it to the wedding. They're only showing 2.
Yeah. And like there were more couples in the honeymoon footage, but they had to edit it down so much that we barely got to see any of that stuff, which is just crazy.
Well, that blonde chick is always there. Have you noticed that? So
because she was the third.
I know, but
she was at the dress fittings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there for those of you that don't watch it, there was only 3 couples that made it out of the pods, meaning that they got engaged and we were shown. But supposedly a total of 5 actually got engaged, but they completely cut out 2 couples' whole entire story by the end of it. But whenever they do group things, they can't edit them out, and they're there. Especially this blonde girl that she was at their vacation, like engagement honeymoon.
She was at the dress fitting white, but she was she was just part of the posse, you know?
Yeah. They made it seem like
friend.
Stacy brought her along as like part of her crew, and I was like,
no.
Yeah. So, so 2 of the 5, we're not even seeing their stories. 1 has already bit the dust, so we're down to 2 couples, and next week is it this finale technically?
Yeah.
So next week is the finale, which is the will they, won't they of the getting married part. And these people are trash, and there is no chance that these people are getting married.
No.
None. If they do, I don't even know. I would say eat my own words, but that's not even enough. Like, it's first off, in the teaser for the next episode, they basically already showed the outcome of one of them. Did you catch that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, I won't say anything though. But I was like,
there's a lot of weird editing going on in those though. Like they'll edit voice lines from other scenes into different scene. Like, I don't know.
Well, I don't
trust
say it.
that.
Well, there was one part where they showed it was clearly an event that happened after it was a yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
So it was to me, I saw that and I went, oh, well, that's clearly that happened. Okay, so we have Izzy and Stacy, and then we have Milton and Hot Mess.
Lydia.
My question to you two, going into the next final episode, is I'm assuming we're all saying they're not going to say yes.
No, right? No.
Okay. No. Who is the person that is going to be the one that says no?
Stacy and Milton.
For each couple. I agree.
Yeah. Stacy is so obsessed with money. As soon as she found out that Izzy had credit card issues.
To be fair,
bad credit score.
To be fair, in defense of Stacy, I agree that money is a big thing for her. Not even just comfortable money, but I need to fly first class everywhere money. So but when it comes to lying, not lying, but not telling the full truth of
waiting for the right moment.
Yeah, to tell about because I think he's not telling her the full truth because what I looked on it was he told her that he only had $3,500 in debt, and it's if that's the case, just pay it off. So I think
I watched that one. I watched that one today. So he said he had $3,500 in debt, and it wasn't that much, and he paid it off, but it ruined his credit score. So that's what.
So there's sense. So that makes no sense because there's other stuff happening there.
I would assume what he's trying to say is he used credit card for $3,500, didn't pay it back for X amount of time. It crashed his credit score and then eventually paid it off. But by that time, it's too late. That's how I assume.
I feel like there's more to that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
And because in order to tank your credit score, you would have to have a lot more debt for a very long period of time. Yeah. I feel like maybe he had to file for bankruptcy at some point because that will tank your credit score real fast.
There's something amiss there. So it's that's why in that aspect I'm kind of on Stacy's side because especially when you get married to somebody, their credit kind of also becomes your credit.
And so, it's 2 days before the wedding.
And it's 2 days before the wedding. Their debt is now your debt. And it's if I were going to marry somebody in 2 days and I just found out that their credit score was in the 400 or 500s and they have all this debt that I did not. There's a difference between obviously student loans and stuff like that. That's a whole other conversation. But it's credit card stuff that you're not telling me, I'm not going to be happy about it. Because that also says a lot about how you are with money, which for a lot of marriages is a big deal.
Yeah. So she's just, even before they talked about that stuff with his credit score or whatever, she she's just like obviously too high maintenance for
Oh,
him.
I 100% agree. I 100%.
He said in episode 9 that I want to show her I can do the things that she's used to, like flying private. I was like, who? You ain't flying. You ain't ever flying her private. Like, not even first class. Flying private. The dad said those are the types of things she's used to.
No.
First of all, also, like, they had this whole big date private dinner scene in like the hangar bay of a private jet, and I was like, does she even like planes, or did they do of this because of that first class line?
Like, I thought it was pretty cool, but like I thought that was pretty dope, but yeah, it was like
it didn't make any sense.
No.
I was like, why are they eating dinner here? No. And then they did it in the Rock Museum with Milton and Lydia, which kind of makes sense for Lydia.
That makes sense.
Like,
that makes sense for them, but like
it felt so random.
Yeah, like they should have just gone to like some fancy dinner with like, I don't know. Yeah, the whole
Stacy like snapped at Izzy for quote like not cooking for her, and she was like, "What do you do for me?" And I was like, they've been together for like 2 weeks at this point.
Yeah,
give him some time to do something for you.
She's very needy.
She wants all his attention at all times. Life devoted to him.
I don't know if we discussed it, because I don't know if it was in the last episodes from last week. We didn't get to talk about it, or the ones previously, where how she had said anytime they go out, she expects the husband to pay for everything. What are your thoughts on that? Because for me, I'm like, I'm all for feminism and stuff, but like I don't expect my future husband to pay for literally every single meal we go out to.
As
I couldn't do that personally. I'll be like, no, I got this one. Like,
let me, before you two answer, because you are
what are your
stable relationships, one actually being married, one's about to be married, and no hope in sight. I assume when you get married, it doesn't matter who's paying for it, because it's coming out of the same.
If you share a bank account, yeah.
Well, because like for me, I'm assuming, and this is just me assuming, and I know everyone is not like this. I'm assuming you don't have your own bank account that your spouse doesn't know how much money you have in, and the same for the other one. Like, to me, like, if I was in a relationship, like, it's not that I want to know, but it's like, shouldn't I know, like, how much money we both kind of have? Like, if my bank account has $30,000 in it, and your bank account has $1,000 in it, like, I feel like those are things we should both know. So, like, I always don't I've never once understood like this argument between married, not saying anything other than relationship, fine, all that stuff. But married, I personally have never understood why the who's paying is an issue. And please, by any means, someone explain it to me. I just don't understand it.
I think it has more to do with the older you get, the more likely it is that when you're dating somebody, like, you're not going to be totally open about like how much money you make and like combining bank accounts, because if you're an older, well-established adult with a good paying job, then I think it would be a little bit harder to just say, yep, let's just pool all of our money together immediately. Because they've worked so hard to like set up all of this stuff. So yes, I think eventually it should be pooled into one, but I think the older you get, the harder it can be to do that right off the bat. Especially in a situation like this where they don't know each other very well, and they're like, and then you got the whole prenup situation. If that's gonna be a thing, then
see, I'm with Jake. I'm 100% with Jake. Like, at least when it comes, like, obviously every couple is different, but for me, it's like,
see, now I agree with Jake.
Yeah.
With that. So here, let me put it up. Actually, you want to finish what you're saying?
Yes.
Sorry,
No, I was saying because it's like if Sean and I go out, it's either we'll split it, he gets it, or I get it, and then the next time, like if I got this one, he's gonna get the next one. Like it's like we're pretty on equal footing when it comes to that, but we also have separate bank accounts. It's
Okay,
not
so here's
one thing. But
yeah, exactly. So here's what Jake just said. Depends on the couple. Some keep separate accounts but still do 50-50. If Gabby said what Stacy did, I would throw up the peace sign 50-50 all the way.
yeah.
I'm totally like, here's my thing. I don't see a problem if you want to have separate bank accounts after you're married. Like, that's fine. But I feel like both people should know, like, relatively how much, like, is kind of in that bank account. It doesn't need to be, like, specific. Like, I know you have $31,456.97 in your bank account. But, like, if you're living at, like, a $30,000 and $1,000, there needs to be more. It's more than just, like, he's the man, he should pay. Like, there's a lifestyle difference on that, and that's going to cause its own issue.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, after you're married, like, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
That's just me.
No, I mean, it's valid.
I don't remember when me and Alex, like, combined everything, but at some point we did. But before that, I think we all just kind of we both had bills that we paid. Like, we would split the bills, and I took electric and gas or whatever, and he took whatever else. And that was like when we had separate bank accounts. But eventually we just pooled everything. And it was funny because I had kind of bad credit after college, but Alex didn't have any credit because he didn't have
he didn't have any credit cards.
So now I have better credit than he does because he didn't. Just because I have like more history.
Yeah,
it might be his YouTube channel, but he's nothing without your credit.
Yes.
Blink to your comment. Been with my wife 13 years and always had separate accounts. I see no problem with that.
Yeah, like, I mean, I've heard it's best to have 3 where each person has their own, and then there's one like cumulative like bank account where that's it's like we're putting our bill money in here, we're putting like our vacation money into this pile, like that kind of stuff is what I've been told.
That's what we have. It's just whether or not we remember to use those accounts. At this point, it's like
I just also, like, to the point of having like drastically different ones, like a 30 to like 1,000 type one. Like, if someone has a good chunk and the other one is getting bone dry, like, as the one that has the more money, I'm looking at the other one being like, I'm keeping my money separate from you, because, like,
yeah, and that's why people get prenups sometimes.
Yeah, she's definitely the type where I think she should have one.
Yeah, if she's 100%. As wealthy as she has insinuated, then
then she should have one.
But I don't know. I mean, to each their own.
Money's definitely going to be the reason why they don't get married, though, in my opinion.
Like, she wants him to wait on her hand and foot, and like he's just not like, that kind of guy.
Nah.
He also strikes me as kind of like working class, where she's upper class, and I don't think he is ever going to, like, he'll probably bust his ass for the rest of his life to make her comfortable, but they're never going to be wealthy in, like,
first class flights every flight.
Yeah, like, he's gonna run ragged, like, trying to make sure she's comfortable. But
if he had any hair, it would all fall out after they got married.
Yeah, like,
he would be stressed.
Yeah,
and that's to me not a way to live. Like,
also, can we talk about her job
eyebrows?
title. Well, we'll get to that. Her job title is operations manager. She's a Pilates instructor.
Yeah,
Does she? Okay, here's my question
Thank you.
though. Does she own?
Thank
Does she
you.
own that studio?
She
'Cause,
might,
like,
but she's a
'cause
Pilates instructor.
that's
Period.
the only reason. That's the only reason
on,
she would
I'm
be able to
looking her
afford that house. Like the only reason she could afford that home that she lives in is if she owns a fitness studio or something. Just being a Pilates instructor is not going to give you especially in Houston. Houston's not a cheap place to live. Like
I mean, she
you
could
Okay,
be
here we
an
go. Here we
operations
go.
manager of that establishment, but
This will
Brian
tell you
found
all.
Still.
Brian
Will
found
tell
it.
you all you need to know. So I typed in Stacy from Love Is Blind's job. It says, according to blah blah blah, though Stacy's job is shown on Love Is Blind as a director of operations, Stacy works for her father's successful company and teaches Pilates on the side while her well-off parents actually seem to be paying her living.
I knew it was daddy's money.
works for her father.
That's all you needed to know. She's a successful worker for her dad, and
She's a nepo baby.
part-time does a Pilates instructor.
And she should be able to afford some makeup classes because girl looks rough.
Whoever does her eyebrows hates her.
She
She
does.
does them.
Okay, well then she must self-hate because it like
They're
It's
like
the-
that
it's
because
It's the orange blush that just goes
Oh, maybe.
straight across for me.
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not here to look shame, but like I'm sitting there like you're a gorgeous girl who is messing your eyebrows up.
she's not. I can tell that she has not been like adapting her way of putting on makeup as she's been getting older, because she probably like smiles to put her blush on, but the older you get, the apples of your cheeks kind of come down. So like I put my blush like up here now.
Yeah, mine's here.
And so like she probably puts it on when she's smiling and then it's down here. It's so
Jake-
distracting.
I'm politely suggesting.
If Alex said something about it, even Alex was like, her foundation is too light.
Oh
Why is the
damn!
Blush so like just stuck on there. It's not blended. And I was like, all right, if Alex is talking about it, then it's obvious enough for me to talk about it.
See, I would never be able to be like, that's the foundation. That's like the only thing I know is like lipstick, mascara, and
Her brows don't
Blush
bother me
is
as
the
much
pink,
as the blush.
right?
Yeah, her brows don't bother me.
Her brows
nearly
are
as much
just
as the
too
blush
dark
does. They're
for
too
her
dark.
Blonde hair, and like they're too warm brown. It's like a lot of classic mistakes, and I don't want to be mean. I'm giving constructive criticism, and if I saw her like in person, I would be like, here's how you fix it. You know, like let's work on this together. I don't
Let's
want you
fix
to be
your
on
face.
TV
Let
like
me
this
help
anymore.
you.
Because yeah, and I told Alex, I was like, if my brows ever look crazy, you have to tell me.
Please let me know.
I just have
Which I'm sure
one,
they have.
so that's
Well,
fine.
real quick before we talk about this for an hour, Milton and Lydia.
I think he's slowly starting to realize she's on the crazy train. Like
Well,
towards the
she
end.
treats him like a child the way she talks to him
Because
sometimes.
he
But
is a
he's
child.
He is
But-
a man child.
yes, but the way he like communicates, I think, is a lot more mature than what she does. But like just the way she talks to him, I'm just like, oh my god, there's no way this is gonna work out.
When they went to see Milton's
His
parents,
parents.
I was
Yep.
like, oh my god. First of
Yeah,
all,
that-
like that's rough for any woman when the parents are so like steel faced. Like
Yeah.
his mom was straight up like, I'll look up your credit score. Or the sister made that joke about the mom looking up
Yeah.
her credit score, and she was
Yeah.
basically like, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
he
she's
said
like, I'm gonna background check you.
she. Who was it? When the sister and him were on like their lunch date, and they were like, yeah, our family doesn't have emotions. It was like, yeah,
Mhm.
We know.
clearly, because like there was no when Lydia was there with the family, like they were like this the whole time,
Yeah.
just nothing.
Flatlining.
Mhm.
There was no like change in tones, no excited, no upset, nothing. Just like you said, flatlined. There was from the dad, from the mom, from the sister, from Milton. The only person that was there that had any type of emotion was Lydia, and to which they said, "You seem really fake right now."
Yeah, the sister was like, "This whole thing is phony."
Yeah, this seems very scripted, I think is what she had said. Like, this
like,
seems
oh.
this, yeah. Yeah.
They are a a very live by the numbers and statistics type. Like it gave me like a, until you prove me wrong, this is what something is shown.
Yeah,
like,
the mom was treating that whole situation like a business transaction.
Yeah.
100%.
And she was like, this is not good for business.
No.
She even said, I live my life as a business transaction.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my husband, before we discussed it, it looked like it would work in a business. Like, I was just like, she stands no chance. No chance.
And Milton just like said next to nothing from what we saw in the edited thing. And I felt bad for Lydia that whole time, but I still just don't think they're right for each other.
Mm-mm.
It was just funny because you could clearly see she was just throwing every charm bomb she could at them. And it was just like, literally just like the most stone statue. You're just like, love bomb, and just nothing. But it was just like,
there is something about Lydia that seems very fake. Like, she puts on an act seemingly just like all the time, but I still struggled to figure her out and be like, is she being honest or is this all fake? Like, I can't tell still.
Me neither.
Which is just upsetting. But
yeah.
Milton's 24, she's what, 30?
30.
He
is very clearly not.
No.
And the mom literally just
not ready
said,
for this.
like, he just started like taking care of himself. Like,
yeah.
I'm doing all this, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But like, and her biggest concern is him leaving his dishes out, and it's like,
yeah,
24.
she's like fooling herself if she thinks that this marriage is a good idea.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's the 100% when they are both couples are at the aisle, they will ask Izzy if you want to get married, and he'll say yes, and then Stacy will say no, and then they'll start with Lydia, she'll say yes, and then Milton will say no. I'm willing to bet anything on it. That's how they do it. There's no way that they're going to start off with, they're going to go for the for sure yes, and then leave the drama for the second person to drop the ball. But yeah, this show this season, dumpster fire. Cannot wait to see how they try to do the reunion, because that's going to be...
It's going to be interesting.
Maybe...
they're bringing Uche back, and they're bringing
Aaliyah
back.
So messy. I cannot stand him. He is such a, like, throw another log on the fire, like as many as I can. Let's get this thing as out of control as possible. He's just messy.
Yeah,
absolutely. If Vanessa Lachey wants to get drunk for this one, I
don't blame her.
Last season, you could have been, you shouldn't have, but this one,
get us drunk as
girl. Yeah, you do whatever you need to do to get through this one, because
we're all gonna need it.
Yeah, it's gonna be. There's gonna be like 2 couples there, and I'm just gonna be pulling for people. Like, please, will you be on this? Because there's no one else. But all right. Any last trash thoughts before we get to the thing that people probably came here to actually?
I know we lost a good amount of people here listening over all that, but I think
Jake put out a tweet that we're actually starting our Ahsoka one, and maybe people will start coming in.
I think that's all I had for Love Is Blind.
Yeah, but I think we're all in agreement that both are going to be no. Both are coming from Stacy and Milton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree. I would love to see I don't think it's happened. Correct me if I'm wrong. We're at the altar. Both of them just go, yeah, no.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't do this.
Yeah, like
They shake
give me
hands and
that.
leave.
Just like bye.
Yeah, give me that one. Just be like, yeah.
I mean, Shake
fair.
and Deep pretty much. We're both gonna say
Mhm.
no, but
Yeah.
That's fair. But all right. Well, as much as we can just talk about this dumpster fire, we're gonna switch as our overlay to Ahsoka, things people care about. We're gonna talk about Star Wars. Oh, we just got Jake's Ahsoka thoughts. Sweet. So Ahsoka is officially over for this season, possibly maybe another one. And boy howdy, we get a show. Never did I think that we would get something like this when we were sitting in, what is it, Hall H? What do they call it? No, not Hall H. That's Comic-Con. Is there a specific name for the one at Star Wars Celebration?
celebration stage.
Celebration stage.
Celebration stage. Okay, yeah, that. When this was announced, were we getting something like this? But Molly, you've beat this horse into the ground by this point. You want to get yours out of the way?
Just for like my overall thoughts. Yeah,
Sure.
I really liked the show. I don't know if it's my favorite Star Wars live action show yet. I'm not really good at ranking things because they're all so different in my mind, but I think this was the best looking show that they filmed in the volume.
Yeah.
Like I think it was the best use of the volume, and
it didn't
Ooh,
obviously.
Sorry. I just want to retweet. Jake changed our thumbnail for our Twitter, and it's pretty cool. You two are going to love it. Anyway, sorry.
changed the thumbnail.
Or the,
It's
yeah,
spooky.
It's a spooky.
I like it.
But
Jake, make us a background with pumpkins. Spooky things.
He does. He has the pumpkin. Oh no, that's Christmas.
No, for this stuff.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he has a Christmas
okay.
one.
Sorry, Molly.
no, it's okay.
I'm annoying. Go ahead.
But yeah, I was shocked, a little shocked at how it ended, kind of abruptly, and how many questions did not get answered.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the Night Sister stuff was so cool. The Night Troopers, the zombie Night Troopers, so cool. Like the spooky elements of the show really like knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. The Night Sister stuff was so cool.
Amazing.
And yeah, I think we will probably get a season 2, or we're gonna find out a lot of the answers to these questions in Filoni's movie. But I feel like there's a lot that needs to happen
There's a lot that needs
to
to
fill in
happen.
the gaps before we get to Filoni's movie. Filoni has to like tie in the other characters to the Ahsoka
Mhm.
story to go into the movie. So I think we'll get another season.
I hope so.
Jill, this is the first Star Wars series you've actually watched on time and finished when you should have. How did you feel? By the
No,
way,
I
how'd
didn't.
you-
No, with Kenobi, I finished and watched Kenobi on time. Kenobi, I was good
Are
with.
you sure?
Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett, I was good with. Yes.
Okay.
Andor in the last season. Andor in the last season of Mandalorian, I did not.
For the record, our numbers have gone up since we started talking.
If this is not my favorite live action series, it's definitely my top 2. Everything that they did, pulling anything that was in animated form that we hadn't seen in live action that came on to live action, so like Thrawn, the Night Sisters, Hera, Chopper, Ezra, young Ahsoka, Hayden in the Clone Wars garb, like all of that just for me just came into live action just so seamlessly, and it was so good. And like for me, there was quote unquote like filler episodes, but it didn't feel really like filler episodes because it still like progressed the story and it was entertaining. Like even if there wasn't like a big battle or like a big shock or like a big reveal, like I was never not entertained watching this show.
Mhm.
Balin and Shin are some of my new favorite Star Wars characters that we have had in a long time. and I'm really sad that Ray Stevenson's not here to really see the love that he would have received had he still be alive.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the Balin character so much. I don't know if it's awful for me to say it. I kind of hope they do recast him just so they continue the Balin story. And if they don't, I hope they give him a really, really good send off and kind of explain what he was going to be doing. But yeah, I don't think I have a whole lot of negative really to say for Ahsoka, because I don't think there was any like obvious fan service, because I know people would be like, oh, Anakin was in it, that's fan service. Like, no, it was her master. Like, obvious, like, that's not fan service, that's literally a whole part of her story.
Yes, all of the fan servicey things made sense. Like, it wasn't there to just be like, ooh, look at this.
It's not Luke. I'm gonna get hate. It's not Luke Skywalker at the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian. That was fan service. I'm sorry. It was a great moment. It was fan service. This made sense. Like, it made sense to have Anakin there. It made sense to do the flashbacks of the Clone Wars. It made sense to have the World Between Worlds. Like, all of that made sense. But yeah, I don't think I really have a bad thing to say about it. Really.
Before we get to what Jake thought, I absolutely loved it. I honestly think it might be my favorite thing that Disney's done. Like, since
it's up there for me.
Like, the only thing that I think for me holds weight to it would be Solo. Because I absolutely love everything about Solo. I mean, Kenobi's great. I love Kenobi but to be honest, I love Kenobi because of Reva. Like, I think she's like the best thing of that whole entire. I'm flat out. I think she's the best thing of the whole entire.
Kenobi's still one of my favorites too. I'm in the minority where I like adored Kenobi. I loved Kenobi.
Reba really stole the show on that one.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like, she was. I would love to see so much more from that character. I don't doubt we ever will, but I would in a heartbeat. Andor is just like another masterclass in Andor was like, I don't even know how to describe. Like, it's just kind of like, I don't even know. Andor is just, it almost feels, Andor and Rogue One almost feel like their own different things from everything else. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Like,
it might be,
and it's not a bad thing either.
It might be because there's really no, until the very ending of Andor, there's really no connection with the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
And Rogue One. I mean, Rogue One, the very ending of Rogue One, and then Andor, like the Skywalkers aren't even mentioned. There's no tie-ins with the Skywalkers.
Yeah, I was gonna say Andor is like more boots on the ground, like almost real life type stuff. Like, you could do very little to take out the Star Wars and it would still work as a show. Whereas
like, you don't
Ahsoka is full of like mythological connections and connections to the animated series and stuff that like is only existing in Star Wars. Andor is like completely different.
Yeah.
And
then you have Mandalorian, which to me I adore Mandalorian, but it definitely has its ups and downs. Like, there are episodes where I'm like, I could have just done without this whole entire episode. I mean, in that, I'm not saying that it's bad in any way, but of all the things they put out, and the sequel trilogy is a whole different monster. But
Mando is much more pulpy, and like they take
it's your classic TV show type.
They take a lot of big swings on Mando, and not all of them hit.
Yeah,
they're still figuring that out.
Mando gives me, I don't know why, it's the only thing I could think of, and I haven't even watched the whole entire thing. Like, the Smallville type vibe where it's just like same story, but a new episode kind of doing different things every week. Like, that's the only thing I could think of to compare it to, even though there's a million different shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I adored I felt like I was the kid that was watching the prequel stuff all over again.
Yeah.
Watching this. Like, it was just like, it felt like a movie that they just literally said, okay, stop right here, do an intermission, stop right here, do an intermission. And like, I could go sit and watch this in the theater if they just sewed each in between all together, and I would feel no different.
Do you think it needed more episodes, or do you think it was a good?
So I might be in the minority of the people that are kind of fine with how it ended.
I was fine. I had a feeling it was going to end on like a cliffhanger type moment.
I think I had kind of already, by like halfway, kind of knew that there were going to be a lot more questions than answers by the end of it. So I think by the time I got to it, I was fine with it. Because if one thing I can say for certain is Filoni does things with like a purpose. Like there is a story. Jesus, lady. No, you're fine. Like, he's going to tell the story. These are the chapters that are going to be told, and it's not like he's not going to leave stuff out just cause. Like, if he's putting this in there, it's for a reason, like, type thing. So like, I was kind of fine with the way it ended. I don't know if I needed really, because unless things don't get answered, which is I don't see happening, I'm totally fine with how it ended. And like, I mean, the Mortis stuff, like, clearly we're going towards that in some way. So like, I would rather them do a whole nother season than just try to squeeze it in for 2 episodes. Or whatever. I think the thing that I'm most upset about is that we don't get to see Ray Stevenson play this character more.
Yeah.
That's honestly, and there's nothing you can do about that.
No.
Someone's no longer living with us anymore. So you just have to accept it. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. So what they do moving forward, that I mean, that's not for me to decide. I will accept whatever they choose to do because this person is no longer with us. So there's not going to be a right answer. Like, I mean, it's the same exact thing with Black Panther. Like, there's no, you're not going to please everyone. There is not going to be one universal, this is what you should have done. And everyone is going to agree with it. I know, I personally, where I stand right now, I want to see the story continue. I personally think Liev Schreiber would be fantastic if I got to pick anyone.
Gerard Butler is mine.
See, I don't. He's
so not a good actor.
I know, but he looks like him.
Just because he looks like him, though, that feels wrong.
So
he's not a good actor.
But yeah, so
he's great in Phantom of the Opera.
I haven't seen that, so I guess I can't.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just me. So I'm fine with it. D-Train they recasted Dumbledore, so what's the difference here? Okay, here's my thing. I don't know why or how. I absolutely love that there's 2 different Dumbledores, because I feel like the first Dumbledore was very like old and like kind of like wise beyond his years.
Whoa.
By the time that they got to 3, it's a different Dumbledore where he's active, he's moving, he's doing stuff, he's hunting Horcruxes, and the second Dumbledore was I believe a little bit on the younger side. So like he was able to do so to me, I think it was perfect. I loved it.
And the reason why they had to recast Dumbledore is because he was an established character in the books and you needed him there. The story was already written before they made the film, so they had no choice that you couldn't do Harry Potter without a Dumbledore.
No.
Like that they didn't really have a choice in the matter to recast him. For this, they do have that choice because there is no set story for Balin. And so they do have the choice if they want to recast him or if they want to do something completely different. So that option is still there. Dumbledore's a completely different scenario. So they had no choice but to recast him.
Yeah,
I think recasting is the most graceful way to handle it.
I think so too.
Like, obviously, everyone wants to see the rest of Balin's story play out. I'm sure Ray Stevenson would want that. His family would probably want to see what was going to happen.
What would have happened
with this character that like came in and rocked everyone's world. Everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's amazing!" So. I think there's a good chance we'll just have a recast and be able to see the rest of it.
I do too. I just, like you said, whoever comes in if they do recast it, whoever comes in is not going to just like, I'm going to do it this way. Like people already like this character a lot. And this actor is someone that is respected and people love. So like, in a way, if you're taking this role, like you need to kind of like pay a little homage to this person that played it before, like respectfully. So like, yes, you can make it your own a little bit, but like you change it too much where people are going to get pissed off. Like it's not for you to play that character because he just did such an amazing job. Like I have literally a friend that said like, by episode 3, he's like, this character is in my top 5 already. Like, and I'm like,
it's a great character.
I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, it just everything about him so far has been great. So like, it needs to be taken very seriously, which they will because how many Ray Stevenson's done 3 different types of Star Wars? Animated live action, and then didn't he do something else like a voice? Like he's played multiple Star Wars.
He voiced someone in animation. He might have voiced 2.
He voiced the Mandalorian guy.
Gar Saxon?
Yeah.
Is that him?
I think
I can't remember.
Him. I don't know, but he's I think that they will do whatever's the most respectful and the right answer. They're not going to just replace Gar Saxon. Anyways, okay, so what did Jake say? I will read what Jake said because we wanted obviously to know what Jake said because he loves Ahsoka. Him and I did 6 of the 8 reactions together watching it for the first time. So he said, it's no surprise, but it's my favorite Disney Plus series. It answered many questions I had while also opening new doors for an exciting future. The character development was outstanding, and the way the story unfolded was perfectly addicting. Seeing these characters in live action felt like a dream, and I truly felt like the transition from animation to live action was seamless. I could go on and on about it and hope to get the chance to talk about it. I feel grateful to have experienced it. Yeah. That is also something. The live action, the jump from these animated to live action, like perfect. For me, a Thrawn person, he was fantastic. Like,
do you think I'll ask about a lot of questions that we got asked a lot. Do you think Thrawn was well established as a threat to the galaxy?
As a person
job?
that is in love with him as much as I am, I was fine with it.
And I'll say, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if I was someone that didn't know anything, I think they could have made him a tad more threatening. However, I completely disagree with everyone that is saying he should have, and I believe you and Alex said it. I don't think he should have came back and just destroyed a fleet, because clearly to me, he's trying to do this sneakily. Like, they don't know he's back yet. Like, there's a reason he chose to jump straight to Dathomir. Like,
I think that had more to do with the deal that he made with the Great Mothers, but
I do.
I am curious to see if he's planning on setting up a base there. That would make sense if he's going to use the zombie army.
I think he is. Like, so to me, I enjoyed how he came off and like the threatening and whatnot. I would be curious. I should have asked my friends before this, the two that watched it that don't know anything, what they ended up. I think they just kind of were like, yeah, he seems like a cool villain type. Mm-hmm. Like, whereas that's it. Whereas like, I don't think that he would probably be any more of a threat than what they would assume someone on the Mandalorian is. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think that there's a level of like gravitas that he has given off that he's any different than, I don't know, I'm trying to think of someone, Moff Gideon.
Yeah. I think they did a really good job at making it very apparent that he is not like the other Imperial leaders, and he's not so quick to throw everything they've got at people. Mm-hmm. Like, multiple times he was like, these are acceptable losses, send this many to go attack them, and if that doesn't work, we're not wasting anybody else on a failed mission. Like, I think they did a good job at making it apparent that he's much smarter and much wiser tactician.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
for this stuff.
Yeah. So. And
I would hope that they did that.
And for me, as someone who honestly didn't know a whole lot about Thrawn going into this, I thought he was very villainous. And it's like he was like subdued and very calculating, but that's what made him menacing. Mm-hmm. Like it, and like, so I thought, as someone who doesn't really know a whole lot about the character, I thought it was very well done in establishing this is a bad guy and he's someone, especially with the fact that Hera was like terrified of the fact that he was coming back and was trying to tell like the Senate, hey, this is a real thing. And they were like,
and Mon Mothma too.
Yeah, and Mon Mothma. And so their reactions, and then everyone else going like, there's no way, like that'll never happen. Like, so all of that dialogue also made it like, oh, so he's kind of like in an,
he's like the boogeyman to them.
Yeah, basically. So I thought they showed it really well.
I can't wait to get Xiono's reaction if we do get one from him about, Thrawn's really back. Oops.
I hope Chopper just like goes up to him and just like and just cusses him out. Like, that's one thing I needed more of. I did not get enough Chopper.
Yeah. He's a baby now.
If I had one complaint, I needed more Chopper.
See, that's the kind of thing where
you can't.
When I say I wish there were more episodes, I think it stems from the fact that we did this big whole rewatch of Rebels, and Rebels is animated. They have the ability to do a lot more episodes for that. So I was like kind of missing that element of it where you got so many random episodes in Rebels that a lot of people would say, yeah, it's filler, but it just adds more context to everything. And you get like a silly episode where the droids do a bunch of crazy stuff. So like, I wish we could have gotten more for that reason.
I was hoping, praying we were get just a little AP5. If I could pick one thing that I didn't get, it probably would have been that. Just hearing that snide, like Alan Rickman voice in a droid Like, he's the one character I didn't get that I was hoping for. And to be honest, Hera was not in it that much. Mm-hmm. And then we got Zeb was not in it at all, which I was shocked we didn't even get like a voice, like over like a I could have been like I would have understood like maybe a comms type thing, like Hera talking to him through something and just not see him, but like just know that actually to me was kind of surprising.
Yeah, just because they threw him at the end of Mando, I was expecting him to show up, but it does make sense that he wouldn't come unless he's told, like, oh my god, Ezra's back, then he's going to drop whatever training he's doing and go see him. So I'm looking forward to that.
I just hope we get Callus, too. And that beard. And I think Wyatt Russell would be fantastic playing him. That's who, if I could
see that.
Yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else Ahsoka-y that we specific. I mean, we all agree that like Mortis is like the future of this story.
Yeah,
right?
Obviously, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where we're going.
Yeah. They're not going to show us those big, huge statues just for shits and giggles.
I think it's also kind of hilarious. I texted Molly I think maybe either while you were doing the show or after that. The Mortis arc is not listed under any of the Star Wars Essential Watches on Disney Plus. It's not listed. Maybe. It's not listed on the Ahsoka Essential Watches. They have a Essential Animated Star Wars watch, and it's not listed on there. And I was floored.
I bet they did that on the first episodes Sean made me watch.
Yeah.
They might have done that on purpose to make it, to make sure that no one thought Mortis was for sure gonna come into live action.
Yeah.
And now they can be like, everybody go watch the Mortis arc. Yeah. It's wild.
I just assumed the second that we saw Morai in live action in Mandalorian, like that would be considered like an essential Ahsoka watching thing.
It could also be that Dave wants to change something about the way the Mortis gods are, how they work, their origin story. So if that's the case, he wouldn't want everyone to get used to what they're like in that Mortis arc in Clone Wars if he wants to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, because it does make it seem like in the Clone Wars Mortis arc, it makes it seem like Mortis is a planet, but he might be changing it around to be like Mortis is a monastery location on Peridia as a possibility. I don't know.
I mean, it would make sense if it was like, I don't see the problem of like, it assuming that it was its own planet versus like it was in another galaxy, and like, I mean, it was this giant place on top of a mountain. Like you could get away with being like, yeah, no, it wasn't a planet. It was this far, far away place that no one really knew.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It makes sense to me.
And it would be cool if they tied that in, because like obviously Ahsoka and Sabine need a way to get off this planet, and there is some kind of portal that Ahsoka and Obi-Wan and Anakin went through to get to Mortis. So assuming that portal is still there somewhere, that could be their way out.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Either in I think it was Rebels, there was like someone tried to get in through like a wall or something to get there.
That was the World Between Worlds.
Oh, God, never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Also, before we wrap this up, I am throwing out a theory. So we saw that they were loading up the cargo. Do we think that those are Night Sisters from our galaxy far, far away, or the ones from Peridia?
I think
what?
Sean and I were joking with Zach. We were watching it the episodes with Zach, and I said, it's just a bunch of Snokes in the boxes. It's all Snokes. They're a bunch of Snokes. It's a bunch of Snokes.
So there was a specific line that got me where one of them said, like, you freed us from our hibernation or something like that. And so, like, when I heard that and then saw the thing at the end of them, like, being loaded in and whatnot, I was like, I wonder if this is going to bring back the Witches of Dathomir as just essentially these were ones in like a frozen state from another galaxy. Our galaxy ones got all wiped out. Here is now like these ones.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like restarting a whole entire race, essentially, with ones from far away. And I'm starting to think that they're not dead. They're just in like a stasis, essentially.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they said that they were from the catacombs. So that makes me think that they are a bunch of dead Night Sisters and that they will resurrect them. But if it goes along with Clone Wars Night Sister lore, after they're resurrected, they're going to be like zombie types. They're not going to be back to their original Night Sister personas. So I don't know how that's going to work. I just assume it was a bunch of dead Night Sisters that Thrawn is going to use as his ghost army, basically, to bring it back to Lord of the Rings. Like,
I would love.
Still convinced it's Snokes.
Tiny
Snokes. Just tiny Snokes.
I would love. Personally, I just think I would love just to see like that race just come back. Like,
I mean, I think they want to not only resurrect all their dead from the catacombs, but they're going to Dathomir. I think their plan is to like bring back the Night Sister people slowly.
Yeah, like give me brothers and sisters back in like just alive, like to the point where like I would be like I want to see them in the background, just like walking around with other aliens and species. Like I don't. They don't just need to be like they're only used for bad, like type thing. Because like look at
Mirren.
Girlfriend.
Mirren.
Like she's not bad. I don't know. That's just wishful thinking, I think, for me. But I mean, I think it would be kind of cool to have that whole race just kind of seemingly come back.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Alan, we'll wrap up on your question. Does Ventress come back? No.
She did. She died in a particularly like noble way.
Read Dark Disciples. You will not be disappointed. As someone who has her as their second favorite character of all time, I would almost kind of be pissed if they brought her back.
Because she went to the she like came to the light side.
Okay.
It's an old story. She went to the light side. She died. If they brought her back, she would be a evil dark side zombie version of herself, and that would be really sad.
Yeah. Read Dark Disciple, even though Molly just told you the whole entire thing. It's a great ending for her character if you started from Clone Wars to that. Like, it would, to me, be a disservice to bring her back for this because that's the opposite of how they ended her character. And that's someone saying she's their number 2 favorite character of all time. Like, it would literally first off poo-poo all over that book. And I don't see, you would have to literally say like, that book's not canon. It wouldn't make sense to me.
Which I wouldn't put it past Filoni, but I don't think he would do that for this particular character.
It just would not make sense with her whole entire character story arc. It would literally just, yeah. I don't know. I think they would more likely do a new character that is similar to her type of anger skill set before they like resurrect this character.
It'll be interesting if they have any other, because we lost Morgan Elsbeth, which I understand her character arc, but she was just getting so cool.
Yeah.
And she just got her promotion with the sword and everything. That was so awesome. But now that we don't have her anymore, like, all we have are the three great mothers, and what we're assuming is like gonna be like an undead Night Sister army. And so I wonder if there will be like another Morgan-like character that's kind of somewhere in
I
between.
hope so. There's such a rich race that is so untapped. But yeah,
if they bring Callum Mirren into this, I will scream.
I was literally gonna say Marin's out there.
In a bad way or a good way?
In a good way.
A good
like
way.
I never thought that would be a possibility, but if they need a Night Sister who knows about Dathomir, who knows about kind of like what's going on here, they could, but I don't know.
I actually never really thought about like them coming in to it. That could be interesting. That would be very interesting to see a good Night Sister with all these bad stuff going on. Like, that could be really interesting. And I don't know how I never really thought about that. Just make sure she's the bisexual queen that she is. But yeah. All right. Anything else before we wrap this up? I need to make pizza. That's what I'm making for dinner.
I also need to
from
make
scratch.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. But okay. So a couple things promoting what we're doing, I guess. We have this little number happening Friday the 13th, the trivia chapter. I don't know what that means.
I think it's a play on the title, the last chapter,
okay.
or whatever, the final chapter.
Got it. October 30th, 6 p.m. PST. We are doing this live, ladies and gentlemen. So feel free to come and join us while we do that. We didn't
talk about, me and Jake kind of talked about which Friday the 13th movies we're doing for trivia. I don't think we came to a final decision, but we talked about the first one, final chapter, and Jason Lives, which are not 1, 2, and 3. So we'll clarify that when we know for sure. But
yeah.
Don't ask me, because
those are some of the higher rated ones, like the better ones to watch. So I think those might be the 3 that we do.
I don't know why, but I always mix up Friday the 13th with I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh,
wow.
I think
very different.
I think
those are very different.
Well, I think it's because at some point they both come out of a lake. And so when I saw as a kid, like, I merged them together. And to this day, I still mix them up.
Very different movies.
And then POV plays. One of us is playing possibly this week. Might be me. Might not be Jill. Might be Molly. Who knows? Stay tuned to see who it is. It might be Switcheroony.
Jill's been on my ass to play a specific spooky game, and I have it downloaded and it's ready to go
for only 2 years now.
It's happening.
Almost as long as we've been bugging her to watch Hill House. Almost.
Yeah. Well, now she's playing it, and I'm going to start Hill House tomorrow. So
perfect.
It all worked out.
And all is right in the world. But yeah, that is going to do it for us at POV. Check out our Patreon if you want to do more stuff with us. We have the Q&A still this month. Probably a little bit later because things are happening. But we will have one this month. We would never skip Spooky Month. But yeah, that is going to do it for us. Thank you for joining us. As always, we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.